Well, hello everybody. Bill Thornton, SoCalSabre here. Thank you for stopping by to find out what I listened to this week from my vinyl and CD music collections. There was some things went into the collection, some things from the collections. You know how it goes. Anyway, the first thing was a surprise to me. This is part of that Whatnot bundle, and I'm trying to work my way down, getting him into the collection. And I had never heard of this person before, and I was and the album is a 2025 LP as much as I can find, and it's the only thing in the collection. This is Love Planet by Mark Etheridge. This is jazz, piano, keyboard, really good stuff. And I said I wanted more, but I didn't like the things that I had been trying. This one came along as a surprise. It's really good. It came. I like I said, I knew nothing about it. Started playing it. It's a limited edition to 300 copies, and it's the first vinyl pressing of Love Planet that was originally released in 2022. And I find Mark's music just blended contemporary jazz, soul, and uplifting grooves, delivering really nice, distinctive sound that really was comfortable and very good. I really like this album, and I'm so glad to have had it. I don't think there's an inner on it. There isn't, but I'm going to show you the vinyl. Anybody out there familiar with Mark Etheridge? Let me know. There's not a lot written about the gentleman. In the backside, but it's in really good shape, as you can see. So, I'm starting this week off by giving Mark Etheridge a VG. Very good for his 2025 LP, Love Planet. Sure, some of you jazz fans out there probably have heard of that gentleman before. Know nothing about him. If you know some other albums or material that he has put out, please let me know, because I wouldn't mind searching for some and getting them into my collection. Okay. The next thing we've got coming up this week was another one from that Whatnot bundle. This is a 1981 LP titled Lulu. It's the only thing in the collection. Didn't chart in the UK, but it did make it to number 126 on the Billboard albums chart, making Lulu's third U.S. charting album and her first in 11 years, and her last to date. I guess it's notable for containing the hit single, I Could Never Miss You More Than I Do, which became the second highest charting single of Lulu's career in the U.S., hitting number 20 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. She was lost for me during this era. I don't ever remember hearing her or hearing about her before. When I was listening to it, I heard some different kind of styles. I kind of heard stuff that was sort of like a Andy Gibb type of a style, and two blues style songs pushing towards a Bonnie Raitt type sound. It is in my collection, but I can only go fair plus on it. It's that. Now, some things. Let me remind people out there. Something when I say I may have never heard of her. I think you all know that in 2009, I was in a coma for 3 days. So there are things from my memory that are gone. Anybody out there have stuff by Lulu or remember her? Let me know what you think of her overall. But it's in the collection. Probably won't get pulled up on me again. I don't know. I know it'll never make my spin wheel that's spun on Sundays to get to tell me what to play for Wind Down Wednesday. That's becoming a lot of fun for me. Anyway, check it out. Anyway, that was the 1981 album Lulu by Lulu. Now, this next one here, this was kind of strange. This was in the collection. No, you can't. Didn't know what it was. And this is a picture of Al Jolson. This is a 1978 LP titled On the Air Volume 3. So I guess back in the days, the 30s and 40s, he used to go on the air a lot, and some shows he had his own. Some shows were sponsored by other things. It's kind of a novelty. It's a record of his radio appearances. And it uses some of his old songs and commercials he did back then, and some comedy. Step one, or side one, is a cross-section of work between 1935 and 1950. And it's got California, Here I Come on it, Swanee, I Got Plenty of Your Nuttin', and Easter Parade, Toot Toot Tootsie, Yes Sir, That's My Baby, and all songs. And side two is the Colgate show. I guess Colgate Tooth Powder had a show every week or so, and they used to have people come on and work on there. It says this is the complete, number one, it says the complete Colgate program on January 12th, 1943, which includes Al Jolson singing Yoo-Hoo and Sonny Boy. Well, this is a rarity, I guess. I'm not a fan of wasn't a fan of Al Jolson or radio shows, but I'm okay with it being in the collection. And because of the way the material is and so forth, I'm going to give it a fair on here. This is the 78 Al Jolson album, On the Air Volume 3. If I was a real completist, I'd be hunting for the other volumes, but this came in that big whatnot pile that I spent money on. And so there it is. That was the third thing of the week. Kind of a neat rarity thing there. Okay, the next one was a Black Friday Record Store Day release from 2025. It's almost getting to the end of those. And it is the Ramones live at CBGB in 1977. I have 2 LPs in the collection by the Ramones. There's no enter on there. This is Punk Rock to the Core. And supposedly issued on vinyl for the very first time. A lot of times the CBGB stuff is a little tough because they're in that club and so forth. And according to this one, they only had one microphone, stereo microphone in the middle to pick up everything in there. So it got a little bit of rough. Got a little bit of rough at times. But I'm glad I picked it up. Got a nice red vinyl. Oranges in there, but it is red. And I'm glad to have it in the collection. And even though it's a little bit rough at times, I'm going to give it a G+. Because it's the Ramones. Got to remember them ones. Let's see if I can remember to show you what songs were on here. Okay, I'll give it. Let's take a look at the song list again. Okay, this was the 2025 Record Store Black Friday release of the Ramones live at CBGB in 1977. First time on vinyl. All right, we are getting to the CD part of the week. If you've been following along with me, we pretty much do this all the time. The very first one I pulled out this week, was number 183. And this is a 1994 CD, No Quarter, Jimmy Page and Robert Plant. Aside from Zeppelin, I have 2 things from Page and 9 things from Plant in the collection. Of course, I got a lot of Zeppelin stuff in the collection. This album was recorded during I guess they called it a reunion project for MTV called Unleaded, which took place in various places, including Morocco, Wales, and London. Notably, John Paul Jones, third member of Led Zeppelin, was not involved in the project and didn't know about it, which led to a lot of controversy. The album features a mix of reworked Led Zeppelin songs and new material, incorporating influences from Morocco and the Middle Eastern music. It included the Egyptian ensemble, musicians in Marrakesh, as well as the London Metropolitan Orchestra. I like the rework material. The title, No Quarter, this also caused a problem because No Quarter is related to material that was done by John Paul Jones. So that caused a little bit of problem with that. So I am surprised when it came to the reunion set, beside Plant not wanting to do one, and I understand why he didn't want to do one. He didn't want it to become a going to the fair type thing where you're repeating the music and music. But I'm sure that John Paul Jones was not real happy that it wasn't included in this. But overall, this was a really, really good album. A really good album. And then we'll go on VG Plus for the week. This 1994 album by Jimmy Page and Robert Plant, No Quarter. Check it out. If you're a Plant fan or a Page fan or just a fan of Led Zeppelin, you'll like this material. Okay, the next one is another LCD. This is going to be number, let me get 183, 184, 184. Comes with this brown cover in it here. And this is Tom Petty's Wildflowers from 1994. Got a lot of stuff from Petty on here in my collection. 2 LPs, 7 CDs, and a 6 CD box set by Tom Petty. This was the second studio album by the American musician. Four singles were released from the album between 94 and 95. I didn't show you the No Quarter CD. I better show. Sorry about going to have to go back to that, but I want to make sure I show you everything. Pretty nice. Okay. So I said there was 4 singles released between 94 and 95. You Don't Know How It Feels, which reached number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100. And topped the album Rock Tracks chart for 1 week. The title track, while not released as a single, charted at number 16 on the Billboard Hot Rock Songs chart, and at number 3 on the Billboard Lyric Find, and would become one of Petty's most streamed and popular songs. Beside Wildflowers and You Don't Know How It Feels, I really like the song It's Good to Be King. Tom Petty fans out there, let me know. What's your favorite by Petty? I don't know what my favorite album by Petty would be. I know Refugees would be up there. That was my introduction to Tom Petty when I was living in Europe. And here's the CD. Okay, so this was 1994 Tom Petty's album Wildflowers, and I'm going to go VG on this one also this week. So wow, crazy. A lot of VGs going. It's going to be tough for the picks. All right, last thing of the week is the album that's been sitting in the collection for a long time, waiting for a return. It's album number 102. And it was released in 1978, and it's Wavelength by Van Morrison. I have 5 LPs and 5 CDs in the collection by Van. So that makes me a semi-fan, right? I don't know. We do have an inner on this one. There wasn't very many inners this week. This is this is 1978. It's in really, really good shape. I purchased this probably when I was living in Europe also. And it was the 10th studio album by the Northern Irish singer-songwriter. I guess it was from what I read, because I can't remember. Again, this is a little different from his previous albums, as he was leaning towards a pop rock sound with prominent electric guitars and synthesizers. Of course, I didn't feel that they were too heavy on that. Let's see what Discogs listed it as. Rock and pop, rock and soul. Okay, I could probably live with that. Wavelength, at the time that it was released, became Morrison's best-selling album. Some people say that the songs on here, by Van Morrison, recall different stages of his life, and it talks about the United States. But then I did read something where Van Morrison denied that, so who knows what it is all about. It charted the top 30 in Australia, the UK, and the United States. So that's a pretty good record. And of course, Kingdom Hall was kicked off. I liked that one. The side 2 had Wavelength on it. But the third song that I really kind of liked is Take It Where You Find It. The closing song. It's about 9 minutes long on side 2. And it's talking about, take life as it comes to you, not always be searching for something. Take life. I think that's what it means anyway. I kind of live my life that way nowadays. Years ago I didn't, but I do now. So for Wavelength, but the 1978 album by Van Morrison, I'm going VG on. All right. What did I pick that gave me the most? This is going to be a rare week, and I'll tell you why here in a second. Okay, I picked because I liked it so much. I picked Love Planet by Mark Etheridge. This is one that I had the most fun with this week. It was new to me, and I really enjoyed it. It was VG. Then I'm going to pick a CD, No Quarter, by Page and Plant. And that was a VG Plus this week. What a good album that is. So, Wildflowers didn't make the pick. Wavelength didn't make the pick. Wow. See, that's where my thing from last year went wrong, because Wavelength didn't make a pick. But it's a good album. But it's not going to be counted towards the end of the year because of what the competition it had. Maybe I'll do something about that. Anyway, SoCalSabre saying, go down there and hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Help the channel grow. Leave me some comments about any of these things, about any music related things that you want to. Take care of yourself out there. Be kind to each other and stay safe.